government is moving to reduce the use of fossil fuels by 30% and to cut the use of electricity by at least 21% over a 20-year period. This is to be done through the Sustainable Energy Framework Pilot Project, which was formally launched today. Minister responsible for Energy, Senator Darcy Boyce, told the launch ceremony that Barbados' annual energy bill of $460 million is equivalent to the sum spent on education.
Our target, therefore, of achieving 21% reduction in electricity power usage will save us 0.6% of GDP, or $48 million a year in imports. This saving will clearly add to our GDP. And if we were to achieve a 20% reduction in fuel usage overall, including transportation and other uses, the savings would be double and would be around BDS $96 million, so close to $100 million a year.
Senator Boyce says government will be setting the example of energy saving and is encouraging all Barbadians to come on board.
When one considers that in the public sector alone in Barbados, the government spends $60 million annually on energy use. Through conservation and energy efficiency efforts, a reduction of only 5% will lead to an annual saving of $3 million. A reduction of 20% would save $12 million per year. If we can increase this saving to account for all other uses of fuel in government, we can see that our savings in government and its entities alone could be close to BDS $20 million per year.
And Barbadians are being invited to participate in a renewable energy and energy saving program. It's being conducted by the Division of Energy and Telecommunications. Project manager of the Sustainable Energy Framework for Barbados, Leighton Wortman, has been giving details. He told the launch ceremony that it will involve the placing of 28 photovoltaic systems across the island and the setting up of a small wind turbine.
And the majority of the photovoltaic systems will be installed across the residential sector. The energy efficiency pilot, which is why we're here today, will involve the distribution of compact fluorescent bulbs and power monitors to 3,000 households across the island. And the program itself will see the replacement of about 5 incandescent bulbs of about 60 watt in every household with 15 watt compact fluorescent bulbs. And also, as a means of trying to promote a change in behavior towards energy conservation, we'll also be distributing power monitors.
Outgoing Vice President of the Association of Public Transport Operators, Judy Ford, says there's no issue surrounding the wearing of uniforms by PSV operators. Bringing documentation to support her claim, Ms. Ford states that the Transport Authority agreed to the wearing of the grey and cream uniforms in May this year in correspondence to APTO. Her position is in stark contrast to outgoing President Maurice Lee, who says the maroon and gold uniforms are the preferred choice of his executive. Ms. Ford's comments come days before the members of APTO choose a new executive to run the organization.
The Transport Authority, in their correspondence on the 25th of May 2011, said the shirts are short-sleeve dress shirts with buttons down the front, with colors cream and grey, with the APTO PSV logo embroidered over the left side pocket.
Ms. Ford says if she's elected to the presidency of APTO, she will be seeking a time frame for the wearing of those uniforms since the June deadline has expired. The head of the traffic division of the Royal Barbados Police Force is urging local authorities to consider installing cameras at all intersections where traffic lights are present. Station Sergeant Rodney Innes says this is particularly necessary in the city where there are 37 junctions alone. He tells CBC News that too many accidents are occurring at these junctions because motorists are running red lights. He believes 24-hour surveillance would help to put the brakes on some motorists.
In the future, I would love to, preferably the near future, I would love to see something like cameras, traffic cameras being installed at all these critical junctions certainly within the city. That would help in terms of our enforcement. That will help drivers to desist from their bad behavior because they know they're always being watched, and the possibility of them being prosecuted has been up.
Now, the National Folk Concert scheduled for tonight at the Queen's Park Steel Shed is still on, despite reports of inclement weather. This official announcement from corporate communications specialist at the NCF, Wayne Simmons. He says the event is going ahead as planned tonight, and all Barbadians are therefore encouraged to come out and enjoy the festivity. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Baldwin Spencer has called on CARICOM governments to subsidize the regional airline LIAT. He says they should do so in the same way in which they provide significant amounts of money to international airlines to service the region. Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are the three shareholders of the regional airline, and Spencer said that some CARICOM countries, even those in the OECS, do not provide any form of assistance to the airline, even though they benefit tremendously from its operations. Spencer said when the international carriers who those countries subsidize to a large extent bring tourists to the region, it is still left to LIAT to bring them to islands where the routes are unprofitable. Protest action in Trinidad and Tobago by workers of the country's power company T&Tech. We have more in this report.
An ominous warning from T&Tech workers in San Fernando on Monday of things to come following what they say is a breakdown in negotiations with management. The workers protested outside the state-owned company's offices in South, not only showing their dissatisfaction with the company, but with the government, particularly Finance Minister Winston Dukran, whom they accuse of holding on tightly to the nation's wallet. OWTU branch president John Suklal Singh says the union has been in talks with the commission's management for some 31 months and in May believes considerable progress was made. Suklal Singh says last Friday, though, all their hopes were shattered.
What they came with is that all the cost items that had been agreed to in principle before, the instructions they get is to withdraw all these improvements and go back to where we were.
In addition, the agreement reached regarding COLA has been quashed, and T&Tech workers are upset and believe the finance minister has just declared war.
To give these kind of instructions is apparently they're calling for peace, but what they have done is declared war.
He says while workers are not making threats, they are not giving any guarantees either that there would be a round-the-clock supply of electricity.
Good evening, I'm Kent Jerson and this is the Business Report. And we start with news of RedJet, which has rejected claims that it's engaging in predatory pricing on its routes. Chairman and Chief Executive Officer Ian Burns has hit back at critics who say the airline's low fares won't allow it to make a profit and therefore are predatory.
There aren't many airlines in the region who've ever made a profit. So one could say that the prices that are in the market today are actually predatory pricing. One could say they're predatory against the consumer. Because of monopolies, people have been allowed to charge what they like. We are now hopefully bringing an end to that. Hopefully now the consumer is the one who is going to have the power. The consumer is going to have choice.
Mr. Burns has also been talking about RedJet's ticket price of $9.99 US.
And $9.99 is not anywhere close to being the cheapest fare in the world. There are many airlines in the world where you can actually fly for nothing. And this is what low-fare airlines are about. They're about growing the markets. They're about encouraging people to fly. They're about giving people the opportunity to fly. Whilst as a private business, we are in the business of making money. And if you look at the successful low-fare airlines in the world, they today are the most profitable of the airlines in the world.
Studies have shown that the success or failure of a family business could hinge on whether or not it has a succession plan. That's according to Canadian Grant Walsh, the founder and director of KPMG Enterprise for Family Business. He was the featured speaker at a seminar on family business succession planning at the Lloyd Erskine Sandyford Center this morning. The event was organized by the Barbados National Bank in association with Republic Bank and KPMG.
The family business has the potential for long-term sustainable competitive advantage, but it also has the potential to experience constructive and destructive behaviors. But what we know today is that complex interaction between the family and the business and the individual family members that make up that family system that are at play. And those family businesses who commit to allocate the time and the resources to manage that complex interaction of family and business are the ones that have the greatest likelihood of going from generation to generation.
This is the second of BNB's quarterly business seminars. The bank's Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Derwin Howell, says this collaboration with KPMG on succession planning will be duplicated in other countries.
We see this initiative as an imperative for creating stronger businesses across the region. Starting in Barbados, this seminar will be replicated in Guyana, Trinidad, and in Grenada, countries where both Republic Bank and KPMG operate. It demonstrates what can happen when you are part of a regional or global grouping. Republic Bank is already very successfully engaged in the small and medium-sized sectors in Trinidad and Tobago, and will, through BNB, bring initiatives to the local marketplace to benefit our local SME operators.
A brief look at the stocks now. Here's a summary of today's trading on some of the region's exchanges.
A very good evening to all, and we experience a day of rapidly changing fortunes. Take a look at the extreme temperatures. These are going to bear it out quite nicely. The maximum temperature at the airport actually got up to 31.4 degrees Celsius. The minimum initially was 25.9, but then it plunged to 22 degrees Celsius. At 6 o'clock, the skies at the airport overcast. They were having some thunderstorms also, 22.7 degrees Celsius. The humidity, 100%. The winds out of the southeast at 8 kilometers per hour. And in all the drama, we had 14.7 millimeters of rainfall up to 6 this evening, and I'm sure we are still counting. But quickly into the eastern Atlantic, there's one tropical wave, Barbados and the island chain around here. That wave is being categorized as a quite vigorous tropical wave in the vicinity of 37, 38 degrees west. That is during the region sometime around late Friday into Saturday, and indications are that it is going to maintain its very active status and could very well bring some strong showers and thunderstorms into the region during the weekend. But initially we had the ridge of high pressure dominating proceedings. Let's put the cloud in motion, and as a result we had a generally sunny and warm day, but all the while we were tracking this line of instability from in the eastern Atlantic. Well, this is where it's at as I speak. It is presently over Barbados and over the island chain, generating some heavy showers and isolated thunderstorms. To that end, we issued the flood watch. That is going to be in effect until 8 o'clock, but we are expecting most of that action to be through the island chain in about another 2 or 3 hours. Thereafter, we're going to be returning to normal activity. The moisture level is still high, some scattered showers expected. I'll be back after the break. Welcome back, and while we are expecting the moisture levels to fall off as a result of the movement of that line of instability, remember yesterday we had a tropical wave passing through the area, so generally the moisture levels are pretty high. We are going to be looking at cloudy skies and scattered showers continuing into night, maybe the chance of isolated thunderstorms, but that is gradually going to peter out. The ridge of high pressure is going to cut in, but as I indicated, the tropical wave presently around 37, 38 degrees west, that is going to be injecting a fairly significant amount of moisture around towards the weekend, and we're going to be looking at some action. Take a look now at our 4-day prediction. We're going to be looking at Wednesday through to Saturday. Partly cloudy skies, scattered shower activity expected through until Thursday. Then there's going to be that spike in moisture levels and instability levels as that tropical wave moves into the area. And then it's going to be a fall off towards Saturday. Of course, we will continue to monitor that situation. Never say never as far as the weather is concerned. Sunrise in Barbados tomorrow, 5:41. Sunset will be at 6:28. The tide situation, the first high tide 6:49. The second is going to be at 7:25 in the PM. The first low tide 17 minutes to 1 in the AM. The second is going to be at 12:43 in the PM. Seas moderate in open water, swells down to 2 meters. And the winds across Barbados and across the region, east-northeasterly to east-southeasterly, 15 to 35. Of course, we had a couple of gusts thrown in with that active weather. Tonight, cloudy to overcast with moderate to heavy showers, isolated thunderstorms and gusty winds, but we are expecting some improvement towards midnight. And for tomorrow, fair to partly